So the question here says Jerry receives 12,000 Rand to invest for a period of 5 years. He's offered an interest rate of 8.5% per annum compounded quarterly. Determine the effective interest rate. Now, to determine your effective interest rate, the formula we use for effective interest rate is where IEFF represents the effective interest rate. This IN represents the interest rate you're given in your question, and your N represents what it is compounded by. So all we just need to do is substitute. And that would be your answer. The next questioner asked you, what is the amount that Jerry will receive at the end of 5 years? So going back to the information we're given, we understand that the investment was for 12,000, the period was for 5 years, and the interest rate was for 8.5. So your P would be 12,000. Your I is 8.5% compounded quarterly. You have your N to be 5 years. Now, you will put all this into your compound interest calculation. We know that because they're telling us to calculate the amount he will receive at the end of 5 years. So substituting everything in, you will get and this here will be your final answer. Then we have this question. It says a company bought an office furniture that cost 120,000. Now, after how many years will the furniture depreciate to the value of 41,611 Rand 57 cents, according to reducing balance method, if the rate of depreciation was 12.4% per annum? So now this is compound depreciation question, and the formula for a compound depreciation question looks like this. All we need to do is to find out the individual values, what your A, what your P, what your I, what your N is, and whichever of those values we do not have is what we're going to try to find. The company bought a furniture of 120,000, so it means that our P is 120,000. It was depreciated to 41,611 Rand. Now that should be your A. Interest of 12.4%. So it means that the only thing that we do not have is how long it's going to take, which is our N. The next thing to do is to substitute. So that will be your answer. Now, one thing to remember in this question is whenever you get a compound interest question, or in this case, a compound depreciation question, and you are actually trying to find the number of years, how long your investment or loan is going to go on for, or how long your depreciation is going to go on for, we usually use logs to calculate your N because N is a power. So we'll convert the exponents in which you see over here to the logs in which you see over there. Okay, so that is one key thing to always remember when you're dealing with questions like this. That's it. So it says Andrew plans to save 20,000 for a deposit on a new car. He decides to use part of his annual bonus to pay 3 even annual deposits into a savings account at the beginning of every year. Now, how much money must it deposit to save 20,000 after 3 years? So we understand that this savings will start from T0 and we want our money back in the third year, which is 20,000. So at the third year, we need 20,000. Now, they're saying that Andrew is willing to deposit the same amount of money over 3 years. So meaning that if the first payment is T0, the second and the third would be at T1 and T2. Since we don't know the amount of money we need to deposit, we can say that we deposit X Rand. And since it has to be the same, I would write X Rand for those 3 periods of deposits. Another thing in which we actually do have is our I is 8% compounded quarterly. So we can put all this into the compound interest formula. So we should have 20,000 because that is our goal. We need 20,000 at the end of the 3 years. Each and every one of our X would have its own bracket. So for the first X, we're going to have... Now the reason why we have 4 here is because it's compounded quarterly. And that's why we also have 4 there. And since this first X is for 3 years, that's what it's going to take for it to reach our end goal. That's the reason why we have it as 3 times 4. And the same thing would apply for T1 and T2, because this one here would be for 2 years, and this one here would just be for 1 year. So the answer is going to be 5,678.05 cents, which means that this needs to be deposited in your account every year for 3 years for you to have 20,000 at the end of it. So that's it. We have a couple of videos on financial math, the simple interest part and the compound interest. So if there's a particular section you do not understand, I recommend you check those videos out and go through this video again. We'll be talking about annuities next, the grade 12 financial maths. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. Thank you.